Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Oren Tabib and I will demonstrate some of the new functionalities in 8A2. There is actually a lot to show, so I'll try to focus and show you just the main functionalities in this version and the highlights of 8A2 demonstrate within SAP Business One. But just before that, maybe I'll walk you through some of the things that I will show in this demonstration. So I kind of divided that into two main areas. One of them is new functionalities, which you can see over here. And then I'll go some of the enhancement. The enhancement is basically functionalities that we are familiar with from previous versions, but SAP extended these functionalities in 8.8.2. So let's go into Business One and see how it works. So maybe I'll start with the high level changes. So first, the search menu, it's not part of the cockpit, it's actually part of the main Business One, and every user will see that. They divided that into two main areas, search data and search menu. So if I'll search data, apart from items and business partners, now I have also documents. So I see all documents that are 100. So for example, this is AP invoice number 100. Apart from that, we have two new dashboards. One of them that comes, of course, out of the box. One of them is purchasing and cash flow. So purchasing, I will see all the purchase quotations divided by responded and overdue and so on, and I can drill down with double click into the relevant purchase quotations. Apart from that, we have also a cash flow. I don't really have any data over here, but we can see all the relevant accounts that are relevant for my cash flow, and very good for financials. So we'll go into the home cockpit, and if I'll go under modules, let's see some of the other functionalities within Business One. So under business partners, you'll find some new options. One of them is the campaign. And the campaign is basically an extension to the CRM functionality, enable us to create and to maintain and to track marketing campaign towards our customers or our potential customers. So I can create a campaign manually by going to the campaign window, or do that using the wizard. So let's use the wizard. I can hit on next and create a new campaign. I will call it test for demo and all kinds of remarks, blah blah blah. And then I can define what is the campaign type. Do I use emails? Do I use any fax? Maybe phone calls. So I just choose email, and if I do that, I can choose the template for that email. So I can use any PDF or any pictures that I might have. So maybe let's just choose that computer image. And then I can define a group, owner, start date, end date, items that will be included in that campaign, or any partners to that campaign. I can choose to create activities for the business partners that are relevant for that campaign. Let's leave it tagged and hit on next. So this is where I choose the business partners that will be relevant for that campaign. So I can choose from the general list of the business partners, and then I can also import from Excel. So if I have an Excel sheet, I can make it ready and define the column that I want to import, and I hit on OK, and then I'll choose the Excel, and then I have that target business partner from that Excel. So some of the business partners are internal, are in Business One as business partners, so I can see that checked, and some of them are not. So let's hit on next, and I can choose just to save that or execute that and actually send an email via Outlook. So if I'll do that and hit on next, I actually have an email that is ready to be sent to all my contacts from that Excel. The subject will be here, test for demo, the image that I choose, and all the relevant email addresses from that campaign. The campaign is generated, so I can drill down to that campaign, and I can actually manually also add new names for that campaign. And if we'll go to one of these business partners, and I can see the related activities, we'll see that there is some new activities that is from that campaign. So I can see in that activity the linked documents will be that campaign management. So from here on I can see and say, did I get a response, did I not, and create from here actually a sales opportunity. So I can go over here and link that to a sales opportunity or create a new one. Sorry. So I can link it to an existing sales opportunity, or again create a new one from here. So I can say that it will be closing 30 days and the potential amount is $1,000. And all kinds of remarks. Respond within 1 hour. And so on. So this is the campaign management. Another functionality that we have under Business Partner is the blanked agreement, and it basically allows us to record any contract with our vendors or customers and related to them sales or purchasing documents. So let's see how does it work. So I can go ahead and go to Add mode and choose a vendor or a customer, and I think this is a vendor. Yeah, but that's okay. And I can have a description, contract for 2012, and I can say the end date will be 12/31/12. I can say it's a general agreement or a specific. Let's choose a specific to override the price from the price list of the customer. So if I'll choose one of the items, for example that one, and I will go ahead and plan a quantity of 50,000 for that year and a unit price of $2 per unit. And I can go into documents, and here this is where I'll see the related documents to that agreement, or add any attachment like the scanned contract with this vendor. So I can go to general, and there is all kinds of statuses, so I can have that as approved and add that blank agreement. So now if I'll go back, I can copy that and create maybe purchasing documents with that vendor. So I'll go into a PO and paste that vendor, and I will choose the same item and maybe 1,000 units this time, and I can see that the unit price is $2 as I have in the blank agreement, and this is actually a blue line like this was a special price. I can go ahead to the left and I see the blank agreement is linked to that purchase order. So I can go ahead and add that purchase order, or even copy that PO to an AP invoice to receive that in inventory. Go ahead, and when I go back to this blank agreement, I can see all the information in here. So if I go to documents, you'll see that I have the purchase order and the AP invoice in that link to the blank agreement. I can see in the items that I have planned 50,000, and I already cumulative quantity of 1,000. It means that the open quantity is 49,000. So I can track all the information in one place on my contract within this vendor, but the same thing I can do with the marketing documents toward my customers. So let's close everything here. So maybe just last thing regarding the business partner is regarding activities. So some enhancements around here. So first of all, we already saw the campaign type or activity type, and then if we choose a meeting, we can assign that to a user, but also to an employee. We can assign activities, and then we can choose, if I choose one of my business partner, we can see that we can choose from the business partner address, or we can adjust this. We can also have a reoccurrence activity, so I can assign to that user a reoccurrence and monthly activity to be done, and so on and so on. So all kinds of enhancements around activity, so I can add that. But a nice thing we have now is actually the option to duplicate an activity that we didn't have before. So this is it around activities. Nice feature that we have in 8.8.2 is the make to order functionality. Basically automatic creation of production orders based on sales order and link between the sales order and the production order. I think it's actually also part of the last patches of the 8.8.1, but let's see how does it work. So under the purchasing module, we'll go into the procurement confirmation wizard, and then we'll hit on next. We'll choose the relevant customers, and I will choose all of them and include all open sales orders. So these are all my customers list. I'll hit on next, and I'll see all the open sales orders. So maybe I'll choose one of the last 4. I'll hit on next, and this is where I'll choose the target document. So I can create purchase orders or purchase quotation, but then I can go ahead and choose production orders, and then the system limit the relevant items, just the ones that are actually production bounds. I'll hit on next, and I'll choose actually to consolidate per item. So if I have same items in different orders, it will consolidate that into one production order. And then I'll hit on next, and I'll see the recommendation, the preview result before I actually execute. And if I'll hit on next, this is actually the execution. So I see that I have 2 production order created, 181 and 182. So I can see the 182, everything is unplanned. I have planned quantity of 6, and I have the related sales order over here. If I drill down over here, I see that I actually have 2 different sales order related to that production order. If I drill down to the sales order, I can see the related production order linked in the line of the sales order, and go into the same production order from here. So let's close that. Okay, after talking about make to order, maybe it will be relevant to talk a little bit about MRP. So a lot of enhancements around here, so let's see what's new. So if we'll go to MRP wizard, I'll hit on next and maybe create a new scenario, 8.8.2 I'll call it, and I'll hit on next. First of all, maybe let's plan it for the year. So one thing we'll see is that they added the option to plan it for months, and we'll soon see why. Let's hit on next. We can select the relevant item for that run, or run it for all MRP items. So let's select maybe let's select just one to see how it works, and we'll hit on next. And what we'll see is that we can run it by company for the whole company, or run it individually per warehouse. And then we have all kinds of data source. We can include the existing inventory, include the demand and the supply. So we have a full, basically a full option to plan what warehouse and what kind of demand or supply we include in which one of the warehouses. So we'll hit on next, and then we'll have a bunch of options over here. So this is what is the source we would like to include in my MRP run. So purchase orders, blank agreements also over here, production orders, and we have a new feature in Business One called inventory transfer request, so we can include in that. And the nice thing that we have is to restrict some of the documents. So I can say, please restrict these sales orders that I don't want to include in my MRP run because it's not approved or anything else. We can define also a minimum level, and very nice thing is to create a forecast. So we had the forecast in previous version, but what nice over here is that we can actually generate a forecast. So we can choose to generate a forecast for that item, and I can say I want that forecast to be based on the sales order and to start at the beginning of the month until today. And this is where I get forecast based off my history. And then I can go ahead and say, this line please add 20% because I know that my growth going forward will be 20%. And then I can do something else and go ahead and adjust these numbers manually, maybe based on another forecast that I'm thinking of. And maybe I'll call it 82, and I'll add that forecast. So a lot of new enhancements and functionality over here, and then I can go ahead and run the wizard, and I'll get a recommendation, and also here it's much nicer to read. I can go ahead on each one of the demanded supply and see what is the source. So this demand is from that sales order, and I can always drill down and see exactly where is the demand came from. I can go ahead to the recommendation tab and see that I have a production order recommendation for that item in the quantity of 60. I can run click and go from here to the no, I need first to save the recommendation, and then right click and go to the order recommendation and click on the purchase order, click on update, and that created one production order. So lots of enhancements around MRP. I recommend just to go over it and try to explore that. Let's see some of the enhancements that we have under sales documents. So first of all, maybe let's start with the reserved invoice. So now in previous versions we couldn't copy that into credit memo. We had to make a separate credit memo and then manually reconcile between the invoice and the credit memo. So now we can go ahead and just copy that into the credit memo and add that to the system, and the system will reconcile between the credit memo and the invoice, so it's much easier, much more comfortable. Another thing that we can do now is in sales order. I'll just choose one of my customers, and I will choose one of my serial number items. So that one, I think, yeah, it's serialized managed. And what we can do is allocate serial numbers in the sales order. So before that, we can do that just with batches. So now we can also decide which serial number we choose in the sales order stage and add that to the system. What it will do now, if I'll go ahead and create another document, maybe I'll choose the same item. What I'll see over here is that this item that I chose earlier is already allocated with another order. Another thing that we can do in sales documents is create a credit memo without affecting the inventory. So now we can go into, for example, AR credit memo, but same thing in the AP side. Again, choose one of the customers, and I'll choose one of the items or two of the items, and decide that we are doing that without quantity posting. So we are giving a credit memo for the customer for that store, for that quantity or for these items, but maybe the customer throw them away, or but I don't want, or he give it to me but I throw them away, but I don't want to have them inside my inventory, so I just check this box without quantity posting and add them to the system. So what it does, if you'll see also the accounting transaction, it creates only transaction towards the business partner, but without any effect on the inventory. Maybe one more thing under purchasing, if we'll go, under purchasing, if we'll go into good receipt PO and good receipt, for example, good receipt PO, I'll go for the last one, and if I want to close that, I can do that today or the original date, or choose a specific day to do that, the end of the month, for example. Let's see some of the pick and pack functionality. So if you'll go under inventory, pick and pack, and then pick and pack manager, right over here we can see that we have more options with the selection criteria. So we have much more options to select. And then if I'll run it just for all orders, I'll see all the orders that are open. It's also support serial numbers in batches now, and also support back order functionality. So if I'll just take some of my last orders, I'll release the pick list, and that will be today, and then I'll see them in the release. I can see them details by each order, or see that in a summary level for each pick number to have a line. And then I can decide, this is also a new functionality, to mark them all and decide what do I want to create. So I can create from here delivery or invoice, or create automatic delivery. So for every order, it will the system will create automatically deliveries. So I can choose the automatic deliveries, and the system just created from all these orders deliveries. I'll go to sales, delivery, and I'll go to the last one. I see that that was based on the sales order. So right click, relationship map. I can see that that delivery based on this sales order that is linked to the production order. Okay. Let's look at some of the enhancements in the payment wizard. So basically it's more simplified setup for the payment method, and there is some possibility to add bank charge percent and some additional grouping options. Let's see how is the run works. So I'll go into the payment wizard. hit on next and start a new payment run. I'll do that just for the incoming payment for now and just bank transfer. I'll hit on next. This is where I can choose which business partners will be included in that run. So I'll add all the business partners, all the customers. I'll hit on next. This is another some parameters for documents. I'll just hit on next. I'll choose one of the payment methods, and by the way, if you'll drill down to the payment method, now we have the options to set one as active or not. I'll hit on next. So this is where I can see for these two customers we have these invoices, so maybe I'll select just 2 invoices for that customer to be paid, and I'll hit on next and just execute. And what we see is that 1 payment were added based on the bank transfer. Let's finish and see what exactly happens. Incoming payments. It created the payments for that customer based on these 2 invoices that I just chose. There are some enhancements in the done interest wizard. The options to create service invoices for the interest and for the dunning fee, and tax code can be adjusted separately for dunning fee and for interest for the service invoice. But maybe let's go and see some of the enhancements in the service call. So now we actually have a new tab called scheduling that we can schedule a call for a customer. So if I'll choose a customer, I can schedule a call for March 6th, for example, and I can also display that in the calendar and set a location for that. And then also when we'll go to the calendar, I can see that service call waiting for me for March 6th. Let's close it all. Let me introduce you now to a new tool called Express Configuration. If we'll go to Administration, System Initialization, we have a new folder called Express Configuration, and basically what we have over here is Express Configuration wizard that guide you through all the configuration in the system when you open a new company or even on an existing company. So if I'll hit on next, we'll see that the guide takes you through the steps from the company details through the accounting details, and everywhere you have this explanation mark whenever you're doing some change, and whenever something cannot be changed, you have all kinds of notes. So the local and system currency, all the details with accounting, define the chart of account segmentation, and so on. So basically when you are going to open a new company or define a new company or want to check your current settings of the current company, it's much easier and take you step by step on the system configuration. Let me finish here. Apart from that, there is configuration management, where you can actually save the current situation of the company, of the settings, and call it maybe number 1. And then you can always go to the save configuration, see what your company settings was at the time, and actually compare that with the current configuration, or maybe compare to different configuration and see what is the difference and what a user changed in the system. So it's much easier to set up a company now, it's much easier to build a company, less mistakes and less errors or any things that weren't defined. So overall, I think this is the most of the highlights in 882. If I'll go back to the presentation, there is also other adjustments and enhancements like in the solution packager, which is a tool that the SAP provide to template a company with all the UDFs and all the add-ons, and make a template of that company and then duplicate that for multiple companies. There is some adjustments and enhancements in the upgrade process. It's much easier, 50% faster. There is also the option to have a silent client. There is also an option to actually run through a wizard and have like a simulation of the upgrade prior to the actual upgrade. So it's much easier to upgrade now. If we are talking about Crystal reports, so it's now support multi-databases and multi-languages, that will help with the international deployment of Business One. Some enhancements in the reports and layout management, and maybe other adjustments. There is the bank statement processing, the BSP, that is now part of the core Business One. So as you can see, there is a lot of enhancement and changes in 882. It's a minor release, but it's a big change. If you want to drill down and learn more about the functionalities, there is documents that SAP provide called What's New in SAP Business One 882. You can get it from your partners or at the SAP portal. Thank you very much, and feel free to email me if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.